how Apple is promising they're going to make things right.
Tonight, Apple with that rare apology following a surge of customer backlash and multiple class action suits. The company saying, "We know that some of you feel Apple has let you down. We apologize." Apple, the world's most valuable company, has been under fire after acknowledging it intentionally slows down all but the newest iPhones. It now says its sole aim was to preserve them. Apple chalked it up to a miscommunication. It says about a year ago, it quietly installed software that would slow functionality during peak workloads to avoid unexpected shutdowns. The problem? The company didn't clearly inform consumers. The lawsuits have come from multiple states. Agencies in South Korea, France, and Israel are also examining claims against the tech giant. One suit alleges customers were never given the option to bargain or choose whether they prefer to have their iPhone slower than normal. Apple says all rechargeable batteries lose charge over time. The slowdown mostly applies to iPhone 6s and 7s.
All right, back in studio, I'm joined by Dr. Vili Abraham. He's a marketing consultant and consumer behavior researcher. Also, Shai Ben-Ari is still with us, tracking the situation for us from here in the studio in Gaza. All right, Vili, talk to me about really how Apple can win back. That's the big question here. Can they and how will they win back customers' trust after this PR nightmare?
Well, one of the things that a company has to do, if we look at what happened with Samsung earlier this year with the batteries exploding, the backup, well, how it coped with it is by addressing the issue and actually telling customers that you can come back to the store and return the smartphones. And that's how it gained its trust. By the way, there's an index called Impression Index. And it came back 2 months after the debacle, meaning it just took 2 months for Samsung to recover. So if you address the issue and you say, look, we admit that we've made a mistake, we take responsibility, that's the way to take back.
All right, so Vili, Samsung was willing to take back these phones, exchange the phones, really acknowledge the mistake and take a big hit to win back trust. Apple, so far, their first move is slashing the cost of a battery replacement pack, but that's it. They're making it cheaper. Is that a good move? Is that going to backfire?
Well, I think it's not a very good move because I would expect them to say, look, we will replace your batteries for free. That's what customers expected. And
that's what Samsung did this year.
Exactly. That's what Samsung did. And I think that's why there are a lot of lawsuits against Apple being filed across the United States. And even here, 3 lawsuits are filed against Apple, totaling 500 million shekels.
And the thrust of the lawsuits, even here in Israel, is about what?
Well, it's about the fact that people had to replace their batteries or paying for it by themselves or having to buy a new phone. And that caused a lot of financial damage.
Apple, as we heard in the piece, they still insist that they were slowing down the phones to protect the batteries. They didn't want the phone to shut down in the middle of a business call or when you're working on a business document. A big question that's still unanswered about that line of reasoning, right, Vili, is if that was the reason, why were they keeping it a secret? Why didn't they hide that from customers, what they needed to do? Was it just they didn't want to take the risk and now it's coming back to bite them?
Yeah, well, I think so. I think that it would look bad if you say that, you know, because customers would not be able to understand the technical issues. But I really think that there is a technical issue with batteries slowing, with the iPhones performing a lot slower because of the older batteries. And they just didn't know how to say this. And unfortunately, they waited until the situation.
Yeah, it's a big story around the world, lawsuits around the world, here in Israel, too. All right, Dr. Vili Abraham, thank you so much for being with us on the show. Appreciate your time. And we're going to end